Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Coaching Call podcast. On this podcast, we'll cover various types of coaching by trainers in sports, martial arts, fitness, and business. We'll discuss each coach's methods to getting the most out of their respective athletes or clients and how they attempt to change the platform in which they coach. Join us on a fun adventure as we discuss unique coaching styles. Coaching is a universal part of how we get others to get something done. Join your host, Rafael, and his guests on this unique journey in coaching.
Hi, I'm Sifu Rafael, and this is the Coaching Call podcast. If you enjoy this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. This episode was made possible by listeners like you.
Annalisa, welcome to Coaching Call. How are you today?
I'm so well and so happy to be here, Sifu. Thank you for having me.
So am I. Tell us where you're coming in from. You're somewhere different than I am, somewhere in the world.
That's right. It's morning for you, but it's 4 p.m. for me. Italy, Tuscany, Siena. I don't know, middle of Italy. Yeah.
Love it. Middle of Italy, a beautiful place. What can we ask for?
I know. Beautiful food, wine, landscapes. I feel very lucky.
I'm the lucky one. I get to share this experience with you. And one day I'm going to be there as well. So we're excited for that. Annalisa, the way I love to do this show is I love to get to know you from your childhood. Where were you born?
I was born exactly where I've come back to. So Siena. And then I traveled. When I was 13, we traveled a lot. My dad was working as an international banker, and that's how I got to study in international schools, in American schools, and I got to see the world. And I came back to Italy when I was 30.
Wow.
Yeah, and I haven't left since. Then I got married, got divorced, got the kids, then I got stuck, and now I'm here.
You're not stuck. You're in a beautiful place. So let me ask you, you said you moved at 13. What happened between the time you were born and 13? Who influenced you the most in your life?
That's a really good question. I think I was in between that very young age before I left Italy. I was very much influenced by my entire family. I had my cousins and my aunts and my grandmas and my grandpas. We were always kind of sharing meals and hanging out. And I grew up in that stereotypical noise of Italian families. And so I was very friendly. I had lots of friends, and, I modeled that outside of the house. Lots of friends, boys and girls. I used to like playing with boys because they didn't whine as much as girls. So that helped. And so yeah, I think my biggest influence was really how my family was just really very close, Something now in my older, wiser years, I am trying to recreate, because for a long time I kind of stepped away from that. So I'm now trying to create it for my kids.
I love that. Even though you had this whole family unit, you talked about your aunts, your uncles, your grandma, your grandpas. Was there one person, if you had to say one person truly affected who I am today, who would you say that was?
If you allow me to answer in retrospect.
Yes, please.
as an adult today, I think my parents, as a couple, were the biggest influencers, but not positive ones. They didn't really get along. They kind of tolerated each other, which tolerance is really a good skill or trait to have. But I think in a couple, it should not be the main constant. So there was a lot of tolerance, a lot of living together, like cohabiting in the same space, but there was not much love, laughter, and that influenced me, because I really found the love of my life at like 46,
Wow.
4 years ago, because I was so contaminated by this stale model of
Mhm.
couplehood. So my dad is a bit narcissistic still. Now he's old, but he's still narcissistic, and that played a big role in how I lived and grew up to be a young girl. Started going out with boys and started, having my own first relationships, disaster all over the
Mm.
place, one after another, because I didn't have that. I didn't have the software, you
Right.
see.
Right.
And so I either kind of got stuck with narcissists or people that were very not affectionate, so unaffectionate and unloving,
Mhm.
or I would attract these wonderful men full of love and compassion, and I wasn't ready to receive it,
Yeah, I get
right?
that. I get that. Yeah.
Because the software didn't prepare me. My mom was always kind of longing after my dad, and my dad was always starving all of us for affection. So
Mm.
that's the software I got until I kind of, as you well know, you become aware and you get tired of suffering, and then you reprogram the software.
Yeah. Wow. That is powerful when you think about the relationships that you had once you started having them. And you talk about software, but it's more of modeling, right? You were modeling what you saw in front of you, and you thought that was normal, probably, right?
It's true. In my first marriage, I married someone super safe, like my
Mm.
mom, and
Mm.
that got boring really fast. Because I didn't have all that life, vitality, and passion and hunger that I have, and I didn't have that because I went into the safety mode,
Mhm.
because I hadn't yet done the work that was necessary.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And it took you a minute, if you will, right?
Give me a minute. 2 minutes.
Maybe 2 minutes.
But it
So
helped me, in retrospect. I mean, I know, and I want this to be for your listeners who are watching or listening. There's always a gift.
Mhm.
Like, I
Mhm.
have written a book about relational efficiency. So basically how to get along with everybody. That's coming out in February. Hint,
Nice.
hint, in case, we want to do something. And that's because I struggled with relationships my entire life.
Mm.
So I was forced to actually go and analyze and deprogram and reprogram and observe. And so it's a gift. I'm so grateful for everything today. Today, I am
Mhm.
so grateful for everything.
Yeah, I gotta say, when you said hint, hint, we do have an Author's Tales podcast that we can have you
Ooh,
feature your
okay.
book and so forth. So absolutely. So to write a book, it's accumulation of your relationships, accumulation of what you saw and all these different things. At 13 was a big time. You were just becoming a young lady, and then you're moving to a different place. What was the place? What was even the build up before it? Even maybe at 12, maybe at 11, did you know that this was going to happen? Was there a build up that happened to it? It's almost like a crescendo, right? It's happening. It's coming through.
No, I think we had about uh 6 months crescendo.
Mm.
And before I left, I really was a bit of a tomboy,
Right.
and a leader. I had lots of friends. I would spend hours on the phone with the girlfriends. I was very extroverted and very sociable and always around people,
Mm.
uh, l- leaving the country and well, learning that we were going to leave and move to Australia was devastating. So I think I cried for like 2 weeks. And you know how young girls are, they're so dramatic. I was very dramatic. I was very dramatic. So I just cried and cried, and my life was going to be over. And in the end, I think it was a great experience. But the first year was really tough. You know, I'm a minority. So here I am in Sydney, Australia, public school, because I didn't want to go to the private school. My dad wanted to send me to a private school, but when I went, they just kind of, I got a little bit fearful, you know, about the rigor and the seriousness, and I wasn't used to it, you know, because in Italy I went to public school,
Right.
and so I ended up enrolling in public school, and you know, I didn't speak any English, and teens are can be mean, and I was, you know, Italian, and I couldn't speak English, and I was bullied. I was marginalized and bullied. So I came from a social context of being like the center of attention and leading the boys and leading the girls and doing a bunch of stuff together, to being alone, no friends,
Wow.
you know, no one to talk to because I couldn't yet speak the language. So that was, you know, I think my first trauma. You know, I broke, something inside me broke, and it took forever to fix it.
Wow. Wow. I got to tell you, we have a similar story. I came when I was 8, and I'm Colombian, so I didn't speak the language. Now, let me ask you, did you know when you went to Australia that they were going to speak a different language, or were you surprised? Like I was surprised. I thought everybody was going to speak Spanish when I got here.
Oh,
I
no,
didn't know.
I knew they spoke English. My parents were thoughtful enough that they hired us an English tutor, but you know that, you know, there's no tutor in the world that can prepare you for living 24/7 in an English speaking country. I mean, there isn't. You just have to go and live 24/7 in an English speaking country. So they tried, but it wasn't. And I did the ESL courses. I don't know if you did those, you know, to learn, and like English as a second language courses, which obviously made me more, you know, oh, right. I was the only European with like, because we're in Australia. So a bunch of Asians, Koreans, and a bunch of Asian young kids in the English second language classes. And here I was, the only European. So I would be made fun of just for that. You know, I mean, teens have a lot to struggle with. And so I understand. Now I understand. Back then it was tough, as I'm sure it was for you.
A little different. You know, you're a young lady. Just to show you my age, they didn't have ESL back when I was coming in. No one in my school spoke Spanish. There was no such second language. Everything was English. Even the teachers didn't speak Spanish. So I was the only one.
Oh my goodness, that must have been tough.
It was so much fun. Nobody understood me. And I didn't understand them, but you're correct. The bullying, you know, I was 8 years old, not a teenager. So the bullying was still happening. So a lot of different similarities, different but similar to what you went through, right? Because we all experience life differently.
Absolutely.
So your parents kind of started getting you in the idea of you're going to be speaking a different language. That was great for you. It had to have helped some, but you still felt chastised, didn't you?
Well, yes, you know, and I was very chatty. I mean, I am even now chatty, but not as chatty. I used to be really extroverted as a kid. And that really closed me up, you know, spending months being alone, not talking to anybody, having ideas that I couldn't articulate. So I had to be quiet. So that really, for me, 13, 14 was when I just really became an introvert. I went inside, but going within, which should be the journey that every man and woman makes on this planet. But when you are forced to go inwards and you're not prepared to go inwards, I became angry and judgy and critical, and I just wasn't happy. Eventually, I learned the language, and eventually I made friends, and eventually I had fun, and I would go to parties. I would do everything that a teenage girl does. But yeah, I feel like that was a big turning point. Had I not been broken by that episode, that period of my life, I think, a sliding door moment. I think that was a sliding door moment.
Yes, yes. So
Like,
at 13, new country. Even though I felt alone and everything else, there was still some excitement. You had to have some excitement about a new place, a new environment, new
absolutely.
new
Absolutely.
new new sightings, even, right?
Well, the landscape in Sydney, Australia, 40 years ago was completely different than it is now, I'm sure. But it was definitely different from little Siena town that I
Right.
came from. So everywhere we went was just like, oh my God. I remember the first skyscraper I saw in downtown Sydney. It was like,
Mm,
oh my God, what is this? I mean, everything was just mesmerizing because everything was so big. The
mm,
roads were so large, the cars were so big, the houses were so big.
mm,
You know, we came from a little apartment, like a three bedroom
right.
apartment where the five of us lived, very comfortable. But we
Right.
went to live like in a huge villa mansion, like everything was just extra, extra large. So I remember that being the most exciting part. And then you're not going to believe it, junk food.
What? Junk food?
Well, back in 1984, Italy didn't have a lot of junk food.
Mm,
We had 1989. We had maybe like pizza, like get a
all right.
slice of pizza, but we didn't have like McDonald's and Burger King and Pizza Hut. And sorry, my cat is participating.
I love it.
Um, so I still remember the first time that I walked into a McDonald's and I had a Big Mac, and I thought, oh my God, this is the most delicious thing in the world. Obviously now I don't think that, but
Right.
it was just mouth watering. So much exciting. Yes, I think that the outside world was so much more exciting. Eventually also other things, but I remember the first things that would get me really excited were these.
I got to say, you brought back memories for me, because obviously in Colombia, we didn't have fast food either. And coming here, probably at the age of around 9.5, was the first time I went to a McDonald's. But it wasn't near. I lived in Queens, New York, and it was about 20 to 25 blocks walk. So it was about a good 20, 25 minutes to get there. And so it became a treat. It wasn't an everyday occurrence. So me and my friends would take this huge walk, and we would go there, and it was like we get like fries, and we would share them, and we get like a Big Mac, and maybe we'd get a shake or something, and that was a treat, right? It never became a regular thing, and I've never done fast food as a regular thing for me. And I guess if you have it as a treat, it's not so bad. But if you make it
No, it's
part of your
not.
lifestyle, oof.
Oh, no, no, no. Yes, everything in moderation. And I mean, nutrition is really, I came to appreciate the
Mhm.
Mediterranean diet
Mm.
later on, because as a young as younger kid or a young adult, I used to love sweets, so I would eat a lot of desserts. They are not good for you. So I have come, but I always was a very sporty, athletic. I
Mm.
would hit the gym. 16 years old, I started hitting the gym, and I haven't stopped. And that kept me. So that's why I could eat the desserts, because I would work out like 6 days a week. But eventually, growing up, I learned the importance of just eating a balanced diet. And when I came back to Italy, it was so much easier
Mm.
because here, normal eating here is a balanced diet.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It definitely makes you think about lifestyle, right? When you talk about a balanced diet. And I'm going to share something with you if you're okay with that,
Absolutely.
and the audience, right? So, everybody, just take a look. I'm going to share this with you. And the reason I'm going to share it with you is because we're talking about it. And this is what I call Sifu's mind body method. Take a look.
You followed the rules, tried the restrictions, counted the carbs, the steps, and the failures. You're not lazy, you're exhausted from doing it all without real change. What if the problem isn't you, but the plan? Sifu's mind-body method is a 90-day transformation built on 7 unshakable pillars: mindset, movement, nutrition, hydration, fasting, journaling, and faith. This isn't another shortcut. It's your structure, your strength, your reset. You don't need harder, you need better. Ready to begin? Start today.
That's it. Start today.
Start today. I like that. It's so complete. It's not easy.
No.
Check all the pillars every
Mhm.
day. It's not easy, but we can put attention and we can try and do our best, especially with the faith part.
Oh yeah. One of the things that really gets me is that I see so many people who are chasing the money and they're forgetting their health in the process. They're eating fast food, they're doing this, they're making money, they're building their wealth, but they're forgetting their health, which is the real wealth. Right? The
I
real,
think so.
yeah, I
I
know you
think
do.
so. I think health is the real wealth, and I would also add faith to that,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
because
yeah.
if you live a life without believing anything except yourself in
Mm.
your earthly identity, I think you miss out on so much.
You do. You do.
Uh,
So, Annalisa, from 13 to 30, you were roaming the world, if you will. You went to different places. Talk to us about your travels. Talk to us about the memorable moments that you had along the way.
well, I think Australia, I loved the fact that it was never cold,
Mm.
and that I picked up some cultural habits back then. I don't know now, but back then, I remember walking barefoot from like school. We would come back home and we would take our shoes off. I mean, something I would never do now, but we would do that. We would spend days by the beach just talking and sometimes doing homework, at
Right.
the beach. Fast forwarding to after Australia, I came back to Florence for a year and a half, went to international school,
Mm.
and the most memorable memories are the people. I met some incredible people, some of whom I'm still in touch with. We have in America, the American International School of Florence has all the beauty of the American culture inside the beauty of a Florence city. So for me, it was just like, wow, I could have the entire world without actually being
Mhm.
across 5 continents. And then
Right.
we moved to Switzerland,
Mm.
where I've left my heart. I would love to go
Aw.
back to Switzerland. Yes, not heart because I fell in love with somebody, because I fell in love with Switzerland.
Mm.
Everything works there.
Really?
Everything's clean.
Mm.
People are, they queue up naturally. I'm Italian. If you can, if people can cut the line, they will cut the line. So here
Mhm.
I am in this culture that is so courteous and civil and efficient. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is heaven. I'm also older. I'm in undergrad.
Mm.
If a train's supposed to arrive at 8:03, it's there at 8:03. So that for me is something that I never found anywhere else. Then I worked in the Geneva. For me, I spent 9 years in Geneva, half of
Mm.
it with my family. Then they left and I stayed behind. I graduated and then I worked and I loved it. I
Mm.
mean, I loved it. There's the entire world in Geneva.
Yeah. Well,
You
that's
know?
why you got the Swiss time, right? With Geneva and with Switzerland, right? That's why they make the best watches in the world, right?
I
Because
mean, you
everything's
get,
on time.
I used to have friends from all over the world, Middle East, Africa, Asia,
Mm.
Europe, South America, America. I mean, it was just like, and all of us would go out together
Mm.
and there'd be no differences, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
like the concept of racism, discrimination, it doesn't exist.
Wow. That's beautiful.
It doesn't exist because your friend maybe is Bulgarian, one is from Bahrain, one is from Canada, and we're all there alone,
Mm.
fun in this amazing city, studying hard, working hard in this amazing city. So I love that. I have not found that anywhere in the world.
Wow. Wow.
Then fast forward, I'm going to North Carolina, Duke University, to do my master's because I
Mm.
wanted to get promoted at work. So I leave work, I go get my master's at Duke. And I was there with my best friend. At the time, he was my boyfriend in North Carolina. I mean,
Mm. It's beautiful.
amazing. The people, everybody was so kind and so mellow. And the roads were so big and parking spaces were so big because by now I'm driving and I'm a woman. So parking,
Mm.
sometimes is a challenge, but
Mm.
not in North Carolina because it was great. So, and the food, I love Southern food. So, and also Duke was incredible. I
Mm.
mean, you're in an Ivy League school, you have standards that are so high. I really got to breathe excellence there,
Mm. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's awesome.
and like professors had such high expectations from us, but they never ever, or well, at least the ones that I had, they never ever made you feel like you couldn't reach them. They always expected and took it for granted that you could do it. And the
Mm.
whole system at the public policy school was set that you would get help to do it. So there was a strive for excellence, but also all the support systems around to help you get there.
Mm.
It's some very treasurable memories. And then
I
we're
love.
almost
Before
30.
you go on, I don't want to. I don't want to leave that alone because you talked about something that's very important, and people don't realize that. What you said is that the professors were accessible so that you can continue your growth, and I think that's an important aspect for anybody who's had a professor that is not fully engaged with their students. Right? That's an important aspect because it helps you grow as a human being, as a person, as a scholar, right? So I think that's an important aspect that we can't let that go by without acknowledging it, right?
And also, I don't know how old your listeners are, but if there are students who listen to this, do not let any professor ever doubt yourself.
Right.
Because the experience that I have here, what I see here in this country, Italy, that it could really take a lesson from the whole Anglo-Saxon education system. And I don't want to generalize. I know there are tough and disconnected and unengaged and uninterested professors in the US as well. Okay, I haven't had the misfortune of having them, but I know that they're there as well.
Right.
But here, the stereotypical professor, high school, undergrad, grad, they are unhappy, they're stern, they don't really have a conversation with you, they talk down to you, and if they can make you feel inadequate or insufficient, they will.
Wow.
Like this, but because they're unhappy, because if you loved what you do,
boom,
you would walk into a room full of people and you would just kind of teach them from joy.
That's it.
But kids don't understand that. Kids hear their teacher tell them, well, you're not really cut out for this, and there goes the software.
Yeah. So if you're listening and you're going to school, listen to the advice that Annalisa just gave you. Great advice. Because you need to step into your own and don't allow anyone else to tell you you're not good enough.
Nobody, not even parents, nobody,
Right.
nobody. In fact, I think that courses like self-esteem or how not to be squashed by a toxic relationships, these are the things that should be taught in school, middle, high school, junior high, high school, etc., etc.
I love that. You and I are so aligned. It's pretty crazy. Right? And we're worlds apart, but yet we're not. Right?
No, we're not.
And one of the things I always say to people is, you live in your world, I live in my world. But it's to come and bring our worlds together so we can unite in a great way and make a change and an impact in the world. So I am so happy for this conversation today. Thank you. And Lisa, you are exceptional. And I'm just so happy to call you my friend. And I got to tell you, one of the most important things that we sometimes overlook is relationships, right? You and I are worlds apart, but we have a relationship as friends. And you lit up when you saw me. I lit up when I saw you. So right there, and we've never met in person, and I cannot wait to meet you in person. It's going to be phenomenal.
We'll do the mastermind in Italy. One of your future ones.
Talk about masterminds. I'm going to have to bring that video up. Give me a second.
All right. Well, all right. See, I set that up for you and I didn't even know.
You always set things up for me. You set the other one up too. So let's go ahead and bring this one. This one we just finished doing. We just had it December 6th and 7th. The next one is in Tampa. So let me share this one with you.
The city never sleeps, and neither do the dreamers who build its pulse. From every corner of the globe they come. Visionaries, creators, leaders, each carrying a spark ready to ignite the world. This is not an event. It's a revolution of rhythm and reason. A symphony of minds. A movement of momentum. Sifu Rafael, Lancelot, together they set the stage for brilliance. This is the NYC experience. Mastermind, light up the city. They coming from the east, coming from the west. Knowledge on deck with the truth to the test. Leaders in motion, hearts in sync, dropping wisdom so deep it'll make you think. They bring stories, sweat and flame, different faces, one shared name. Elevation, that's the sound. NYC Experience Mastermind, where purpose is found.
I cannot watch that without moving my head.
I know. I was. Me too.
Yeah, so that's the one that's happening in Tampa. We're going to go in April. We're going to go to Ireland, and you're not that far, so I think you need to bring you to Ireland. But we also want to do one in Italy, and you might be our boots on the ground. So I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Me too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So all the way to Duke, you've had this incredible experience of traveling all over to this most beautiful places. You went through bullying. You went through not understanding other people to fully understanding. And I think the most important person that you wound up understanding is you, right? How hard was that? And you talked about failed relationships. You talked about a marriage that didn't work out. And you talked about 4 years ago meeting somebody or becoming in a relationship that you can say, man, I am so proud of where I am today. Tell us about that transformation, because it is a transformation. It's the butterfly effect, right? From a cocoon to really recognizing the color of you. Talk to us about that.
I think my biggest accomplishment is in this life is exactly what you have described, going from a very bubbly, energetic, lively child to a broken, introverted, misanthropic, critical, judgy, and also mistrusting young adult, to then my 30 was my midlife crisis, and that's where my journey began.
You mean your quarter life crisis, right? Quarter life.
But for me, normally we speak about midlife crisis. Well, I had it at 30, so I don't think it was midlife, but maybe quarter or whatever.
Because you're coming to my 100th birthday party, by the way. So just so you know.
Well, there you go. Okay. So at 30, I really did have a huge identity existential crisis. I was in Africa with my wonderful Duke University degree, wanting to shape international development policy. And it's too long, so I'll just condense it to saying that I wasn't living the dream, and I wasn't shaping policy. I was just very miserable and unhappy because I did want to help other people, and I did want to be a change agent, but that wasn't the context. That was what I had, the software, go inside the UN, you live in Geneva, go inside the UN, get the long-term career, get the stability, get the safety, and then climb the ladder. That was the software, my dad installed in my head.
Right.
But frankly, I wasn't happy. I didn't care about that type of change. And so I left, I resigned, took a year sabbatical. I came back to Italy, and I ended up for a month in a San Franciscan monastery on top of a mountain. I went for 3 days and came back after a month. And that's where I just realized, I had made a big mess of a lot of things. And I had to kind of forgive myself. It took years to do that.
Right.
For all the things that I had messed up, all the people I had hurt, the people that had hurt me. And I had to, and there began my journey, which honestly, I don't think it's really finished. It's just different,
Yeah.
But there in that monastery, crying in front of the crucifix, I realized that I needed to heal my own stuff. But I didn't want to go into therapy. I don't have anything against therapists, but it just wasn't my own thing. I just didn't feel like going to talk into therapy. So I went into the holistic world and I did a bunch of certifications for me.
Right.
I learned how to meditate. I learned how to do yoga, and I learned about yoga philosophy and spirituality, then Buddhist, then I did all this. I searched for God really everywhere. And that healed me. So in this search, I would kind of heal a little bit, and then another little bit. And every time I felt like, oh, good, something now works. Obviously, the road, I became so spiritual that I was disconnected from reality. So I would meditate long hours. I would chant. I would work. I would do my things, but I would be a little bit disconnected from reality and from me. Like I went so up high that I wasn't on earth anymore.
Right.
And so that brought about a lot of consequences that were not ideal, because people think that spirituality is all good. Well, it is good if you live it with your feet on the ground, rooted in earth. Otherwise, it can lead you to things and places and people that are no good. So I did that in the self-discovery process. That's where I met my ex-husband. That's where I went into a marriage that, honestly, today I would never go into, because we were not good for each other.
Right.
But it was safe and it was peaceful, and I mistook that for love. And so again, the work, continues. It's like, well, what didn't you understand? Like now you gotta fix something else. Like, and I think that the biggest, if I could give one advice, is to forgive yourself. Like we need to really do this self-forgiveness and forgive everybody.
Right.
Because when you go through that, it's though your lungs expand and you breathe so much better, and so much more wonderful things, new things can come into your life. And so the last bit of the journey, so the last few years, has really been like to forgive myself as much as possible, and to accept myself as much as possible. And I must have done something right, because there came the love of my life in a club of all places at 46.
Where was it?
We met in a club. There was a
Really?
There was like it was during COVID, and there was a big break. You know how we had intervals where you could go out with the masks and the thing.
Right.
So during that time, we were all starved for fresh air and outings, and so they were organizing a revival for old people at the club. Well, old people, like let's say over 40s, over 40s people. And a friend of mine said, "Come." I'm like, "All right." My kids were with their dad, and I thought, after 15 years, I'm going to go back into a club. And there I met him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So you talked about kids. Talk to me about your kids. How many do you have? What's their names? How old are they now?
My son is 14 and a half. My daughter is almost 12 in 2 months. They're both special needs kids. And I've only discovered that this year. This has been a really difficult year for me, because Olivia had her first epileptic episode. And so now we're under, controlling, and we had to change nutrition. We had to change a bunch of things. And so we've got that on one hand. And then my son, who suffered from panic attacks and anxiety. And we always thought he had ADD. So he was we always thought he was neurodivergent. And they had certified him as neurodivergent, but with an attention deficit disorder, whereas from the latest, but he's been worsening over the past year. And so I went and said, there's something wrong, I don't feel like he's progressing. He's not on medication.
Right.
So he's
That's
not taking anything. But with the therapy and the structure that we had built, he should be improving, and he wasn't improving. So I went back to the psychiatrist and I said, I don't think this is working. Something's wrong, because instead of going forward, yes, now he doesn't have the panic attacks anymore, but he's not functioning he's not progressing in his functioning, in his autonomy. So
Right.
they did some more tests and they discovered that he has the low spectrum of autism, which had been, overlooked, and nobody saw it.
Well,
And but now that I know, thinking back when he was a little kid, actually there were signs. It's just that you don't know what you don't know.
Correct. Wow.
And you don't recognize what you don't know. So now I'm thinking, oh yeah, oh God, he's got that, he did that. So now it's all clear, but I didn't know. So now we're
Annalisa,
kind of.
I got to tell you, wow. I work with kids with autism. So I have clients who are autistic. I have one client who's 25 years old, and he's pretty good. He could never live alone. He also sometimes he's 2 years old, other times he's 10 years old. But so beautiful. And for me, to hear anybody, we just have to, and I love what you're doing, that you're present and finding out what it is they need. I love what you're doing with your daughter, where you're saying the nutritional aspects, they play a huge role in how we function, how our brain functions. So kudos to you for, being a great and exceptional mom.
It's tough. It's
Sure.
tough. What can I do?
Yeah.
I don't feel like there are other options.
Mm.
Sometimes I feel like when you are competent in certain fields, it kind of demands that you are also active and proactive.
Right. Yeah.
Because another parent who doesn't know the things that I know about how the mind works, how the body works, probably wouldn't have tried all the things that I've tried.
Right.
Because you don't know what you don't know.
No, you don't. Thank you for sharing your kids with us and being so open. I appreciate you. So tell me your daughter's name again.
Olivia.
Oh my God. That is such a beautiful name.
I know. I
Such
love
a
it.
beautiful name. And tell me your son's name.
Gabriel. Like
Another
the angel.
beautiful. Oh yeah. Listen, from Rafael to Gabriel, we know.
I know. Yeah.
So you met this man who the love of your life, in a nightclub. Were you
Yeah.
wearing a mask?
No, we didn't, because we had to show that we had been vaccinated, or that you had the little, what is it called? You know how,
The swab.
yeah.
Right.
So you would get a pass and then you would go in, and those with the pass could be without the mask.
Right.
Crazy times. I
It
mean,
is crazy times. And meanwhile, we didn't even need all that. But that's besides the point. We didn't know anybody.
that's for another episode.
So that's for a total different episode. And you need to come on my other shows too. You know that, right? So
All right, well, sure.
thinking about your life, you have your highs, you have your lows. Talk to us about some of your highs that really made you consider what you do today to help people.
I don't know. Maybe I should talk about the lows.
Okay, I'm good with that too, because the lows propel us, right? Because we don't want to stay low, so it does propel us. I'm okay with that as well.
So
I love the point of view that you bring. Thank you.
It was 2011. I think my son had been born, So Gabriel was
Mm.
little, and I was going to work, and I was listening. And this is an iconic moment for me because it was such a long time ago, 2011. He was born in May, so this must have been maybe fall 2011. I was listening to a CD in the car of Neil Donald Walsh from Conversations with God. Have you ever heard of him?
Mhm.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So
I have.
I felt okay. So I read the book, fell in love with the whole concept. I read the trilogy, then I read more books, then I bought the CDs, and finally I was in the car driving, listening to the CD, and he was guiding an exercise. And in this exercise, he kind of, which now I know is the ideal scenario exercise, but back then I didn't know anything. So, so he guides this ideal scenario exercise. So if you had all the money in the world and you were free to choose anything in the world, how would you serve humanity? How would you bring value to the world?
Mm.
And I was driving, so I had to stop because I had this vision of
Right.
me teaching people and me teaching people how to better themselves. So it was all very foggy, of course. And then I thought immediately, the logical brain, well, how are you going to do that? You don't know how to do public speaking. You don't know. But the seed had been planted. And this came in a low moment because I wasn't happy. I wasn't going to work happily, I wasn't happy in my job. I wasn't happy in my marriage. It just was not a happy moment. And this came. And this was, in 2011, the little seed that has shaped my, the rest of my life, really. The past, how many years? 2026 minus 2011? How many is that?
We're still in 2025. Don't go ahead of yourself. 20,
15, right? 14 years.
Oh, 11. Yeah. 14 years.
14 years. It's taken me, and now I'm actually doing what I love. I teach people how to better themselves through self-awareness and behavior checking and altering.
Yeah, modification, right? Behavior modification. It's so important what you're doing, and I love what you're doing because it's actually telling people, look in the mirror, but really, really look, because you're not just seeing the surface. You got to go deep, right, inside. So I love that.
Absolutely.
And we talked about your transformation. So now your transformation is allowing you to help others to see who they are, right?
And every little pain helps me help better. This is another thing that I think is so important, because when we feel it, I mean, I have done this in the past. When you are in pain because maybe someone's left you, or someone's lied to you, or your business partner has betrayed you, whatever pain, it is hard to see the beauty in that pain.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and this is where faith plays such an important role, because if you have faith, big enough faith, you know that that pain is part of such a wonderful, magical, bigger design that is there to help you to see, feel, understand, deprogram, reprogram something, so that then you can go and do something wonderful.
Exactly. I always say the only reason God has you going through this is because he knows you can handle it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be going through it. And some of us are stronger than others. And so some of us, we get challenged a little bit more, if you will, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you shine a light on somebody and show them their brilliance. It's almost like you somebody's battery died, and you come along with the charger and you go, here, let me help you charge your battery, right? Let's reset. And I love that you do that kind of work. What has been the most rewarding part of what you've been doing?
Well, I work in companies, so I work in the business consulting world. So you would think that, doubling one's revenue would be my biggest accomplishment, but it isn't.
Right.
It isn't, because my biggest, what I remember now, and they still bring tears to my eyes, is the marriages that I've saved, and parents, children reconnected. Because of course, when you go into behavior mapping, you really look at, as you said, you look at yourself, but not at the wrinkles or the white hair. You look at how you show up. You look at how you show up in that relationship. You look at how you show up with your team, with your wife, with your son. And you take responsibility for what you see, because you're doing that. But if you see that and you take responsibility for that, you can do something better.
Right.
And so when I've managed to have very special clients who were ready to own it and change it, I've saved marriages and I've saved parent-child relationships just because one of the two changed their behavior. Because I don't do therapy. I don't do couple therapy.
Right.
But I can tell you with absolute certainty, because it has happened so many times, that if you have a husband and wife, they love each other, obviously. So it's not a violent, it's not a toxic, it's not a dysfunctional relationship. There is love.
Right.
But after many years, sometimes they don't know how to talk to each other. And it gets boring and it gets like stagnant, right? So one of these two people changes their awareness, their attention, their intention, and the marriage just blooms like a flower in springtime. It is incredible. You don't need both people. You just need one.
Yeah.
And that's the same with children. I have tested this many times with my own children before finding out about their situations. And it's true. If I want them to, when they were little, if I didn't want them to throw tantrums, I had to show up in a different way before the tantrums times.
Yeah.
So that the tantrum would never actually manifest itself. So it really is a very deep self-ownership. Like, you really have to own all the little things you are willing to do, the ones you are not willing to do, and the ones you are trying to do. I mean, we're not perfect. I don't strive for perfection. I just strive for showing up, for putting in the effort, for putting in the time.
Right. I love the spark effect. Right. Yeah, I love that idea. When one person is so bright that you can't help it but look and go, "What are you doing? Let me be part of that as well." Right. I got to tell you, I love the energy you bring. I love what you're doing. I love how you go into retrospect and you go, "Let me think about all of the things I've experienced and how I can share that with the world." So tell us, your website is going across. Actually, that's my website. Let's put yours up here. You connect with on LinkedIn. Everybody, you can connect with Annalisa on LinkedIn. What can they expect when they come to your LinkedIn? Tell us a little bit about, and I know you also have a website, but you can share this one with us.
I think you will find, I keep my LinkedIn very professional. So I'm not big on sharing continuous selfies. People that they're having breakfast, they do a selfie, they go into the car, they do a video, I don't do that because it's exhausting for me. I don't enjoy it, so I don't do it. I have a very simple rule. If I enjoy it, even if it's not self-serving, so if I enjoy doing something for you, I will do it. Even if I don't get anything out of it, but there's joy, because that for me is pure. It's a clean form of whatever. So given that I don't enjoy being followed by my phone all day long, my social media is purely work.
Love it.
That's one thing that they should expect. Like, don't come and have a look at, what cereal I eat or what drink I like, because I don't do that. It doesn't give me joy. I do love sharing everything about my work. So there will be videos of me explaining things that I do or workshops where I've been. And so, so my social media is very much professional, not personal. So that's one thing that they should expect.
Yeah. And that's why I like LinkedIn so much, because it does provide that, right? It does provide a higher level of social media, if you will. But we're gonna get some stragglers who come in and try to do posing and dancing and all that kind of stuff like the other platforms. But we do get that, right, every so often. So
We do. That's okay. There's room for everybody.
there is room for everybody. I got to tell you, exceptional time with you. Wow. Thank you for letting us get to know you, letting me get to know you more. I can't wait to continue this conversation at a deeper level with all the different shows and in person and so forth. So everybody, do me a favor. Share this episode with somebody who needs to learn the lessons that Annalisa just taught us. Great information, great insights, and the beauty that she shared with us. Because life is a beautiful experience, and make sure you live it, because life is for living, right? So thank you, Annalisa, so much for being a guest today. And don't go away. We're going to say goodbye to everybody, but I want to have you hang out for a minute or two. And then we are going to say adios, señorita y señores. Te hablamos pronto. And how do you say it in Italian? Go ahead.
Arrivederci, signore e signori, e ci vediamo presto.
Love it.